Having a chat with us. How would you sum up the last couple of 3 days for you and your team?
Well, we ran second, beaten by the better horse in the race, and I thought South Africa played exceptionally well. They utilised the conditions that they were presented with, and they deserved the victory. So we've got a little bit of work to do, but you don't go from being a good cricket team a few weeks ago to a bad team overnight. So we'll just try and maintain some of those positives, and the beauty is we get an opportunity to come back in a few days' time.
What about specifically with today in the bat?
Look, I thought they bowled really well. I thought the wicket obviously was challenging at times. It was kind of the type of wicket that the boys sort of reflected on, that you felt in, but then you just got a cracking delivery from nowhere. So there's skill involved in that as well from their side, and I thought some of the balls that they were able to deliver were just too good for us on the day. So I thought our approach was all right. I think over the last 4 wins that we've had, there's been times we've been behind the game. We've been able to absorb pressure and turn it back on the opposition. Unfortunately, in this situation, when we were behind the game, we weren't quite able to absorb it and never got the opportunity to turn it back on South Africa.
What was the approach then? Because there's a lot of column inches filled and us waffling on about Bazball and all the aggressive play and batting that we saw in the first 4 test matches of the summer. Would you say that the dismissals today were in any way linked to an overtly aggressive manner?
I didn't think so. I thought, if anything, we were maybe a touch timid, to be fair. So, look, I think that other stuff you guys talk about is what you talk about. That's not how we approach the game. We approach it with a pretty clear mentality of how both the skipper and myself want this English side to play, and we want to try and be the best versions of ourselves. It's not always going to work, and as we said at the outset, you've got to buckle up for the ride. It's not nice in times like this, but we'll come back stronger.
Timid in what way?
Look, I think we weren't quite able to attack maybe their bowlers when the opportunity presented itself. Sometimes that's condition based as well, right? Like, you got to play what's in front of you, and that's one thing we keep talking about, is you got to be smart enough to be able to make some decisions and go through that period where you absorb it. We tried to do that, and we got a couple of jaffers which got rid of a couple of our best players. So look, that's cricket. You got to have a winner and you got to have a loser, and South Africa deserved to win.
Baz, I mean, I know you're not the sort of guy who's going to overreact to defeats, and South Africa, as you said, did play well. But I just wonder, when you look at the first half of the summer, it went so well for England, whether this was a sort of healthy dose of realism for the team to help it move forward. Are you learning more about this team every time they get together?
Yeah, I guess so. Look, I'm really enjoying the time with the team. They're a fantastic bunch of guys, and they're serious cricketers as well. And this is a new approach that the skipper and myself are wanting us to try and take on, and that'll take a little bit of a period of adjustment for some as well. So look, it's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies, and there's going to be times where we're going to have to suck up the results which come our way, and that's not going to be easy for some, and that's life sometimes too.
You didn't detect any overconfidence coming into this game?
No, absolutely not. That's one of the skills I think it's one of the skills of both Stokes and myself, is that we try and get the guys to remain very grounded, be in the moment, immerse yourself in that exact period of time, and be where your feet are, and that's what the message we try and deliver, and I don't believe at any stage we got in front of ourselves. We were just outplayed.
What do you say to a team after a defeat like that, the manner of a defeat like that? Is open and honest conversations, or is not much needed to be said?
Well, I don't think you become a bad cricket team in the space of one game. I think we'll try and maintain a pretty level head to things and just work out some areas where we can be a bit better. I thought, obviously, day one was incredibly challenging to bat, and the toss was probably quite important, but that's life sometimes as well, and they utilised those conditions better than what we were able to. So, we won't overreact, that's for sure. We'll just like when we won 4 test matches, we didn't overreact like that. We won't be doing the same after this defeat.
Schedule is bonkers, we know that. There's nothing you can do about it in here and now, but the gap of 5 weeks between India Test and here, the lack of red ball cricket, is that a big hindrance? Did you come in as a group undercooked?
No, I don't think so. I actually didn't mind the break, so I thought it was an opportunity for what we had done to marinate a little bit, and to be able to just, allow the guys to be able to sort of let that really sink in. It was a special sort of 6 weeks which we put together, and we beat 2 very good cricket teams, and we came here and we had high expectations, and unfortunately in small moments that we were where the game was in the balance, we weren't able to grasp those, and that's a learning lesson for us.
Can I ask you about Zach Crawley? You and Ben have unequivocally backed him, and I admire you immensely for doing that. But at what point do results have to marry up to the faith that you've shown in him?
Yeah, look, Zach's a really interesting one because I think the expectation on Zach is that he's meant to be this consistent batsman at the top of the order, and a few people around here are better at the top of the order in England. It's not that necessarily the easiest place to bat at times. So, his technique and his style, what we're asking from him is to try and chase great moments, to try and embrace the fact that inconsistency is going to be there because you're that type of player. But when you get in, when you get the opportunity, go and win games for England. So it takes an element of trust in that process as well, not just from Stokesy, myself, and those who are as leaders within the side, but also Zach himself. So, look, he's obviously hurting at the moment, but he's a quality player, and I'm sure his time will come.
Just thinking about this new positive approach that England are taking, is it different when you are batting first? I think to set the game up in that positive style is very different when you know what you have to do.
Yeah, and it could be. I guess that we're going to find that out. I guess the thing is, I look at what's happened over the last few days, and I wouldn't say we've gone out and we've played recklessly. I think we just haven't quite been able to execute as well as what we would have liked. And I think even there was a little partnership today between Stokesy and Brody, and even then you had a belief amongst yourselves in the dressing room, and I think that's something that as a coach you've just got to keep drilling in. You can win games from everywhere. You don't have to win from a perfect position every time, and that was what we were able to do in those other 4 test matches, and we're going to be presented with opportunities in the next 2 test matches. So when those moments do arrive, someone's got to stand up and take it.
So is it a case of back in the same 11 here that up in Manchester and say, right, put it right, here's your opportunity?
I'd like to see the wicket before we start worrying about that, but for now we'll get together as a team up there, and we won't dive too deep into things at all. We'll just think about what we need to do over the next couple of days, and when we get to Manchester we'll make some decisions.
Baz, with this approach that you guys have got, just a question from me, is there a discussion of disappointments after a defeat like this? And from your perspective, was there anything that disappointed you about this game, or you just feel you were outplayed and there's nothing to be disappointed about?
Yeah, look, I like to look at life pretty positively, so I don't think there's much future in trying to overanalyze things too much. I think you try and make sure that you bank the good experiences that you've had and that feeling that we've had in the dressing room, even throughout this test match. There's still an element of belief right throughout. So, you don't want to eat away at that. That stuff is incredibly difficult to get, and we've got that in the dressing room. I'd like to say we were outplayed. Yes, we could do things maybe a little bit differently at times, but credit where credit's due, South Africa were too good for us on the surface in this test match.
Appreciate your time, Baz. Thank you very much. We'll see you up in Manchester.
Thank you.